Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to showcase this beautiful Centennial Singer Featherweight 221 that I restored to make sure that it's in working order and it's safe to use. This is the Centennial machine. It was manufactured in 1951, celebrating Singer's 100th anniversary. And it's got the Centennial badge. It's this one with the blue around it. 1851 to 1951. And aside from being a collector machine, it's excellent for sewing doll clothes. And before I show you how good it is for sewing doll clothes, I'm just going to show you the restorations that I made. So first off, when I received it, it was really dirty, and it was full of white flakes that looked like dandruff. I should have taken a picture. All over the gears. This machine is belt driven on the outside, as you can see. And it has gears on the inside. The white flakes that it had inside the machine and all over were caused by the light. The light has a sheath that's made out of lead, and it oxidizes. Right here you're seeing it clean. I disassembled everything. I took out the motor. I checked all the electrical wiring, and I cleaned this and cleaned all the gears. Then I reassembled it. And while I have it upside down like this, I also replace the bed cushions, the little rubber cushion feet. That's to minimize vibrations because they were so old. I think they were the original, and they were crushed on there. So I replaced those. And this machine has a felt pad to collect all the oils. And this causes the machine to be stinky sometimes. This one, I didn't replace it yet, but I will replace it before I ship it off. I have this one on for sale on eBay. I cleaned all the gears very carefully. I disassembled it, and I also disassembled. I didn't disassemble the motor, but I took the motor off, cleaned it, greased it. And I cleaned the whole body of the machine. I didn't use anything special to clean it. I just cleaned it with oil. This machine is in beautiful condition for its age. The decals, they're worn a little bit over here, but other than that, they're not bad. And on this has the bed extension that all the Singer's Featherweight have. And this one is a little bit, it looks really good, but it does have some blemishes. This is a little bit of chip paint. Maybe, I don't know if you can see it. But it's not, it's very superficial, and it's not rough, so it's not going to catch your fabric. This is one thing I look for in these machines is, since I often use delicate fabrics, I don't want them, you don't want any chips and stuff like on the bed of the machine over here. Even if the decals are worn, make sure that you buy a machine that's nice and smooth so that your fabrics, when you feed them, they don't catch. I cleaned the front so that it's nice and smooth, and oiled it, of course. This is all very clean inside. And the metal, I polished it as good as I could. I had disassembled all this, and I learned how to reassemble it and time it to be perfect so it can sew perfectly. So this machine is ready to sew. Whoever buys it, all you have to do is pull it out and start sewing. Nothing to do except for, you know, give it maintenance. They recommend that every 8 hours or so of sewing, you oil the machine. And on the gears, Singer's recommends that you grease the gears. You should only use grease on the gears, not sewing oil. That'll mess it up. About once a year, depending on how much you use the machine. And that brings me to the little sewing manual. This is the original that came with this machine. And in this manual, I recommend that you read it cover to cover because it's got so much useful information on how to care for your machine. It shows you how to insert the needles, what type of needles. You have to use the Singer 1501 needles, and they recommend that you use Singer needles. I use Schmetz, and I use that for all my machines, modern and vintage, because they're the type of needle that this machine takes, and mostly all the machines. Of course, you're going to choose a needle that is right for your fabric. This machine does only a straight stitch, but that doesn't mean that you can't do that you can't use stretch fabrics. I sew stretch fabrics on this all the time, and for my doll clothes. And what you have to do is just make the stitch length shorter, and use a stretch needle, a needle for stretch fabrics, and loosen the tension a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and thread the machine to show a sewing demo. And for this, you have to put on your spool pin, of course. And these spool pins, a lot of machines come with them broken because people don't know how to pack them. They should really remove this spool pin and package it separately because they don't pad the machine well enough. And then the spool pin is hitting against the case. This machine does have a case, which arrived broken, by the way, because the person who sold me the machine didn't package it well. It was bouncing all over the box, and it broke. This spool pin is a replacement because the one on this machine had broken because of the poor packaging. This is also a replacement. I had to replace it because this part came off, and once it comes off, it's only put in here by with pressure. And the one that this machine had, it had come off, and then when I put it back on, every time I pulled my bobbin off here, this would fall. So that's been replaced. The belt I think this belt that the machine came with was original. It still works, but it had taken the shape, and it doesn't help you sew smooth. So I bought a new belt from the Singer Featherweight shop. So I'm gonna go ahead and thread the machine, and it'll show you in your manual how to thread the machine. I usually just thread it based on how I sew with all my other machines, because pretty much they're all the same. The only difference is which way you thread the thread into the needle. Another thing I wanted to mention, which I forgot to mention when I was talking about what I replaced, is this power block. When you get these machines, they often come in broken, and it doesn't affect the way the machine works, but it looks ugly. So I replaced it on this machine. I bought another one, and they're pretty expensive. So when you're buying a machine, if you have one that's not broken, that's a big plus. But since I was going to check all the wiring and take it apart, I replaced it anyway. Another thing that you have to be careful on these machines is this light. They usually come with the original incandescent light. It's better to replace it with an LED, because these lights get really hot. And when you're sewing, if you touch this, it's easy to get burned. And here's the light switch. The light operates separately from the motor. So when you turn off your machine, as for safety, Singer recommends that you always unplug it, because the motor is getting power, and also this foot controller is getting power. And since they're not electronic, they have a tendency to get hot, and it's a fire hazard if you leave it plugged and unattended. So let me go back to what I was doing, which was showing you how I'm going to thread my machine and doing a little sewing demo. The first thing I'm going to do is to fill the bobbin. And this one has one that's filled already, but I want to show you. This is the type of bobbin that this machine takes. The 301 also takes the same type of bobbin. So you get your thread, and you put it on the spool pin, then over this little guide, and then around this there's a little tension disc. See how it holds tension? And then through the inside, through one of these holes, pull the thread and put it on the bobbin, and then you press the bobbin winder holding your tail, then you start filling it. Once it's filled a little bit, I just cut that tail off. And then you just finish winding your bobbin. Oh, if you don't want your machine to run, you just take this little wheel, this little wheel, and loosen it. Turn it towards you, loosen it up so that the machine doesn't run. You don't ever want to run your machine with if it's threaded. This foot controller controls the speed of the machine by how much pressure you put on it, and it's very sensitive. It's great. See, you can go as slow as you want or as fast as you want. So I'm just gonna fill it that much. Okay, and I'm going to load my bobbin case now. You just hold it here. Your thread should be facing you, like coming out towards you, and then load it into the bobbin case. Slide it through that slit. Make sure it gets in there like that. And then I'm gonna hold this little latch and just pop it into the bobbin case. Just pop it until you feel it, that it's in securely and it's not gonna fall off. Just leave a little tail there. And now I'm gonna thread my machine. So it goes through the first thread guide, then through the tension guide. You just slide it against this little part right here, hold your thread and snap it in there so that it snaps into here with this little tension guide. And my foot is up, so there's it's not, the tension is loose. See, if you put your foot down, your tension will be tight. Then make sure that you put it through here, and then tighten up your clutch again so that the hand wheel controls the machine, and put it through this lever, the take-up lever. Sorry about my hands, they're in the way. And I'm not right in front of the machine, so it's kind of a little bit hard. And then the next guide, you have to put it in through all your guides, otherwise your sewing won't be perfect, is this guide right here. And then there's another one right under the needle bar. And then you're going to thread your machine from the inside, from the right side to the left side. I'm going to thread the needle off camera because my head is going to be in the way. So once your needle is threaded and the machine is properly threaded, I'm going to pull up my bobbin thread by turning the hand wheel towards me. And then when you see the bobbin thread come out, just pull it up. And then put your threads towards the back to start sewing. And we're going to do our stitch length. This machine goes from 6 to all the way to 30. And then when you pull the lever all the way up, that's a reverse stitch. So I'm going to put it on 6. So I'm going to put the foot controller here. This is operated by a button. This button is just to keep your heel on or your foot on. And this is the button that controls the machine speed. So here I'm just going to turn on the light to show that the light works, and it's pretty bad on camera, so I'm going to keep it off. So then you're going to put your foot down and start to sew. When you're ready to pull your fabric out, just turn it towards you until you feel it release the fabric. So here is a sample of the long stitches. And I had already done a sample of the tiny stitches. So I'm just gonna go do a sample of in-between stitches. I'm I'm going to set it to about 12 stitches per inch. Lower my foot again. And I just want to show you as well that you can control the speed by how hard you press. So here's another sample of the stitches that the machine makes. And on this machine, I've already balanced it nicely for this type of fabric. There's a whole section in the manual on how to adjust your tensions. The tensions on this machine has numbers, but basically the numbers don't really mean anything. It's just to help you remember where you had your tensions last. If you adjust your tensions for a different type of fabric, like let's say that you had it on 4 and you turn it up to 7 for whatever reason, and then you want to get it back to where you had it before, you know that you had it on the 4. So the important thing is that towards the left is more tension, towards the right is less tension, plus and minus. And I also wanted to show you that this machine can sew stretch fabric. This is a 4-way stretch. And the way to sew on stretch fabric on a straight stitch only machine is the secret is to use smaller stitches per inch. So in this case, I'm using, I'm gonna go with between 20 and I'm gonna do like 15. So it has numbers on this side and on this side, and whatever number is here is how many stitches per inch. This little knob here is just you can screw it in so that if you do a back stitch and then you come back down, it'll go to wherever you had adjusted it to. See, it stops. And if you have it all the way out, then you have to look like if you do a back stitch, because if you just push it, it'll come all the way down. So I'm gonna go again to the 15. So my little sample here. And here's my sample. Small stitches, and you could still has a little stretch to it without the stitches breaking. But it still does a nice seam. And one of the reasons why this machine is so awesome for doll clothes is because it has on the foot, on the plate I should say, it has the one little hole, so that when I'm using my delicate fabrics, they don't, I don't know if you can see it there with all the reflections, but here it is, one single hole. So the fabrics don't get eaten up by the throat plate, like on the modern machines that have the big hole. And sometimes when you start your seam at the very edge, the fabric gets eaten up into the throat plate. and you don't want that. They say that quilters love this machine because of the little tiny foot, and for doing 1/4 inch seam allowances. On the guide, it says what the distance is from the needle to this edge of the foot. This machine doesn't have the guides on the throat plate, so I usually just put a little piece of painter's tape as a guide. You can also have a seam guide. I don't like to use it because I don't want to scratch my machine. Quilters love this machine, and I'm not sure what the reasons are because I don't quilt, but for doll clothing it's great because of the things that I mentioned with the throat plate. Also, the portability of it. I can take the machine to whatever room I want. While I'm watching TV, I can sew. And it weighs about 11 pounds, I mean. I think I forgot to mention that you can adjust the pressure of the presser foot with this knob up here. This is the back of the machine. All the logos are very, very nice. All the decals. Brand new belt. And the motor has been lubed. I checked the brushes, and they're in very good condition. I cleaned up the motor inside. Thank you for watching.